Hello again, everyone. Thank you. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the food and coffee provided downstairs and got to have a little wander around and check out the space. So welcome back for our afternoon of Investival Business Track. Now, there's one thing that has come up in pretty much every talk that you've heard so far, and it's one thing that comes up pretty much whenever anyone talks about Monzo in most capacities, and that is our approach to community. So in the next group, you're going to hear from our online community manager, Richard Cook, and after that, our head of marketing, Tristan Thomas, about what community and marketing looks like here at Monzo. So please give it up for Richard Cook.
I don't have my clicker. Where's my clicker? Thank you. Hello, Glastonbury. Promised I wouldn't make that joke. I think we have the better festival, to be honest. They have Stormzy, but we have AC conditioning. No, I'm sorry, no more jokes. So my name is Richard Cook. I'm online community manager here at Monzo. That means I look after things like our forum, our social media, online reviews, pretty much anywhere that our customers are talking about us. And I am part of the community team, which is me, Naji, and Yen. And I am here today to talk about the question, is community good for business? Kind of the business case for community, as well as sharing some insights about how we do and how we think about community here at Monzo. So, is community good for business? Yes. Thanks for coming. Sorry this talk has been so much shorter than the rest. Hopefully it'll free up some time in our schedule. No. So, I think just like the value of community should be obvious. So you're all here, you're all like having a great time, hopefully. And I think we can all agree that there's something special about this kind of thing, like coming to listen to your banks, giving up the hottest Saturday of the year to come and listen to, a bunch of people talking about behind the scenes at a bank. It's unique and it's really special. But apart from sort of the feel-good aspects of it, I'd like to talk about sort of more of the hard business case and reasons that it's also worth doing for like more, other reasons. So, first off, what do we mean when we talk about community? So community is a couple of things. It's our events all around the country. We have our regular open offices. Every month you can come into the office, hear from some of the team, meet us, talk to us, things like that. There's also our social events around the country. We're hosting sort of little meetups in Cardiff, Manchester, places like that. It's also our social media. If you follow us on Facebook, if you follow us on Twitter, if you follow us on Instagram. It's great when we do like our Instagram stories and we ask questions to our community like, I don't know, what's the last thing you bought with Monzo? And you just get loads of replies. It's great to see. Then there's our forum, which is an online discussion board where 5,000 people every month are kind of there talking, engaging, joining the conversation. But like it's, in a wider sense, there's more to it than that. If you've ever talked to a friend about Monzo, if you've ever shared a referral link, if you've ever looked at our roadmap, if you've ever just like seen a Monzo card out in the wild and said, what is that orange thing? That's all community. And that's all lovely. But as a little thought experiment, what would it be like if we just didn't bother with community at all? If we just like shut down our forum, shut down our social channels? What would happen? Well, the community team would have a lot more free time. Events like this, you can probably tell, take a lot of planning, a lot of effort. So me and Naji and also Yen would, we would lose our jobs, but we'd have a lot more free time. Our event space would be quieter. We would just use it for lunches and meetings and things like that. And that was like, again, a lot of stress. But what else would we lose? The headline there, when we raised 20 million in under 3 hours through crowdfunding, would we lose that? It's like the intangible benefits, or in this case, tangible benefits the community brings that I think I'll be talking about. And it's really, how should I say this? Community brings so much more than is just immediately apparent on the surface. And you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to give you 4 reasons to care about community. The first one, community helps us build a better product. Monzo wouldn't be the app it is today, the bank it is today, without the input of our community. So back in the early days of Monzo, you had to physically come into the office to get your card. It was a chance for us to meet our community, find out what they wanted, find out what they were using the app for. We also held hackathons, things like that. There was this real sort of collaborative sense of building this bank together. Like as we say in our TV ads, you make Monzo Monzo. That was as true as ever back then. And the benefit of that was that, we found out what people needed from their bank. It was an opportunity to find out needs and wants, rather than just sort of trying to build the things that would make us money and we think you want, actually finding out what you need. So that's sort of been part of Monzo from the start and has really informed some of the early decisions about things we've built. Monzo Labs is kind of an extension of this ongoing collaboration. So it's reached a point where we can't physically meet every single person that comes and gets a card, but we still are really keen to have that feedback to sort of build things in collaboration with our community. So if you go into your app, into your settings, you'll find something called Monzo Labs. And that's a place where you can test out new features that aren't kind of ready to fully launch yet, but are there for you to try out, give it a go. You can sort of opt out if you decide that it's not quite ready yet. But the point of that is for you who are really keen to find out what we're working on, opt in, give things a go, then tell us. And then there's that kind of loop of feedback to us. We'll tell you what we're building next. And so many things have gone through this collaborative process and just come out so much better as a result. These are 3 examples: bill splitting, shared tabs, and our 3DS support. These are all things that went into Monzo Labs, went through this collaborative process for varying amounts of time, but all came out changed in some ways. So based on what people said they wanted from tabs or bill splitting, we sort of took that and built it with our community out in the open. So that's a really clear case of a good business reason to care about community, because your community are basically constantly telling you what they want in your app and how it can work better for them. So definitely worth listening to. The second case is all around referrals. So I'll be talking about how community becomes a good sort of booster to growth, in a sense. 80%. So this number is a very special number for the sort of in the history of Monzo. Can anyone guess what it is? NPS. No, it is actually where our growth came from, sort of back in the early days. Well, historically, our growth has been 80% word of mouth and referrals. These days, we're doing more around sort of paid advertising, so TV ads, paid social. But sort of historically, where we've got to today, 80% word of mouth and referrals, just people telling each other about Monzo, sort of seeing it and spreading the word. And this is partly down to sort of some specific things we built in the app. So the app is designed with a lot of social features built in, things like bill splitting or shared tabs or just peer-to-peer payments, making those super easy. They create these sort of little viral loops within the product where it works better if your friends have it, and then they get it, and then it works better if their friends have it. So there's this constant sort of cycle of growth there. And so that accompanied with that is the act of telling your friends about Monzo. It's it'd be so much easier to split this bill if you had Monzo, and then someone's like, what is Monzo? And oh my God, it's the best thing ever. Alongside that, there's the golden tickets and cash referrals schemes. So golden tickets was back when Monzo had a waiting list. One way to sort of get yourself bumped up the waiting list was to with the golden ticket. So if someone shared their golden ticket with you, you could get faster access. And cash referrals is sort of a continuation of that. So now if you send a referral link to someone to get Monzo, you'll get £5, they'll get £5. Again, it's this kind of viral thing. It's well, I'll benefit. If you sign up, you'll benefit. And so there's 2 reasons there to sort of fuel growth through community. The app itself works better with your friends on it, and then there's this sort of added incentive for you and also your friends. It's sort of win-win-win for the business, you the consumer, and then you, your friends as well. This is a stat around investors and how they refer. So we found that people who are investors actually refer slightly more on average than non-investors. So 49% of investors have referred at least one person, whereas 34% of our most engaged non-investors have. So we kind of segmented the user base there, and we found that even in the most engaged segment, fewer of them had referred at least one person. So getting people to become investors or investing in our investors pays off in terms of referrals. And we end up with things like this. It's a bit of a sort of joke that people who have Monzo never shut up about Monzo, and I think that's a very good thing. This is seeing this joke entering the public domain is great. I see this as a good result. The third one is that once you have sort of that community love, you can really leverage it to do really amazing things that really help your business. So I'll just show a few case studies of times that our community has really helped us out and really provided additional value to the business beyond the things I've already mentioned. So we set our community a challenge last November. We said to them, this many people, 3,400, sign up for Monzo every day. Can we double that with just a single tweet? We weren't really sure what would happen here. It was sort of a test, sort of putting the Monzo community to the test. It got 409 retweets, which is really great. I wish we could get that much every day. The next day we followed up and we said we had 1,400 signups on that day. So really grateful to the community for helping us out there, sort of rising to the challenge and really proving the value that they bring. Another example, Monzo on Trustpilot. So on the review site Trustpilot, about 12 months ago, we had 3 stars on Trustpilot. And we've been working really hard to improve that score. We're doing things like inviting more people to leave reviews. But we were sort of steadily increasing. And we thought, well, this is great. We'll hit 5 stars eventually. But what can we do to kind of boost it and get to 5 stars now? So we went into our community and we said, hey, we're close to getting 5 stars. If you haven't already, we'd love it if you could leave us a review. 45 minutes later, we got 5 stars. Obviously, that's building on the foundation of a lot of work to get there. But if you look at the graph of how many reviews we were getting per day, it was enormous. So that is literally putting the community to work to help with the business, because having a good Trustpilot score helps with growth and things like that. And then obviously, crowdfunding is the best example. So we have raised money with our community a few times, gone out to you, and every time we do it, we smash all the targets and all the records, and it's great. So I'm not saying that if we didn't have the forum and social media and things, this wouldn't happen, but it's definitely played a big part in making things like this happen. The last thing I want to talk about is deepening brand relationships. So I kind of think of this as sort of informally the mission of the community team at Monzo. We want to get every Monzo user invested in its future. Okay? And the key word there is this idea of investment. And I think if you think about the word investment, you can define it in many ways, right? There's sort of emotional investment, just sort of caring. I don't know if most people are invested in their bank. Do most people care who they bank with, or is this who they've always banked with? So just that low bar achieving that is enough in itself. But what does deepening that amount of investment mean? What does that look like? And then there's obviously the idea of financial investment. You can be so invested you're actually giving your money to us. That could be switching your account over, or even taking part in one of the crowdfunding rounds. So I've kind of abstracted this, bear with me, with a model where I'm going to try and map out community activity. And you can think of this along 2 axes. So up here we have what I'm calling cost. So how much does it take for you to do this? How much does it cost you your time, energy, attention, things like that? And then what level of investment in Monzo does that represent? So ideally, we would want to do things that cost you very little to do, but get you heavily invested. There's not many of those things, but I think you'll sort of find that most things are a positive direction towards the top right. So something like reading the journal, which is our monthly newsletter. That doesn't take a lot for you to do that. It's quite easy. You have to read it every month. It sort of pops up in your inbox. Maybe you read it, maybe you don't. Maybe you skim it, click a few links. It sort of represents low cost, relatively low level investment. But maybe in that journal, you see something about an event at Monzo. Now, obviously, you might not come to the first one you see. Maybe you come to another one. And then coming to an event is obviously costs a bit more. You have to spend an evening of your time. You have to make your way to the office. But I think when you do that, you have such a high level of investment because you've actually spent the time and effort to come and meet people and hear what we have to say, an hour of your time. Maybe you follow us on social media. Again, somewhat doesn't cost a lot. Follow, just one click. Maybe you don't read us. Maybe you unfollow us. Maybe refollow us. Who knows? But it represents sort of a medium level of investment. I think you're sort of interested in what we have to say. You're not necessarily actively engaging with it. I think if it was engaging with us on social media, that would represent a bit of a higher level, but costs a bit more. Reading the forum. Maybe you go on our community forum, sort of see what's going on there, sort of check out the conversations, lurking. It's all part of it. I think that represents, either higher cost there, because you'll have to sort of get used to sort of the way the forum's laid out and read it and stuff like that. But the conversations that happen there represent a deeper level of investment in Monzo, I think, because sort of really our most passionate users hanging out there, having really detailed, in-depth, hundreds of replies in every thread discussions. Maybe you sign up to the forum and actually start posting, become a regular member, become one of our super users, our coral crew. Cost there, that's your time. We have people who spend a lot of time on our forum, but it's because they're so invested in Monzo. So you can sort of see the sort of positive trend up towards the top right. Going full Monzo. So you've come to an event, you've read the forum, you've been taking part in the posts, you follow us on all the social media channels, and you say, yeah, I love it. I want to move all my bank accounts over to full Monzo using the switching service, or maybe you just get your salary paid in. But you're starting to really make Monzo sort of central to your banking experience. And the cost of that is high, because that's literally moving all your money in. But I think it represents the full level of investment in Monzo, and that's really good for the business. We want people to sort of make Monzo their main bank account and use it every day. And then we can think about the peak of this sort of upwards journey is actually investing. Like, Monzo's your main account, you love it so much, you actually take part in a crowdfunding round. So I kind of see it as our mission to kind of support people on this trajectory, make things as sort of accessible and easy as they can. Like, if we can bring the cost down of things, if we can sort of flatten out this curve, that makes it super great. If we can make our existing community activity more engaging, again, just makes it a little bit easier. But you can sort of think of this as supporting the traditional marketing funnels with community activity, sort of getting people to do the kind of behaviors we want through this sort of direction of things. And you can sort of think about it in user journeys as well. So maybe you join Monzo, maybe you check out the roadmap. The roadmap leads you to the forum. Maybe you sort of start posting on the forum. Maybe you then come to an event, take part in a crowdfunding round. It's sort of multi-point attribution to get to this point at the end. Maybe you join Monzo, want to find out more, follow us on Twitter, start finding out about more features, say, hey, this is the bank for me, and go full Monzo. All these different routes you could possibly take that's supported by what we do with community. Or maybe you don't start off not having Monzo. Maybe you come to a Monzo event because a friend invites you, says, hey, I'm going to this event, do you want to come? You start sort of attending the meetups. That we have a meetup, a social meetup in London, and you sort of get to know the community and go, well, these guys sort of seem to have a great time. And you end up joining Monzo. So there's let me go back to this slide. All these things, there's so many different ways you could navigate your way through it. But hopefully, it's all pointing in the same direction, which is that top right, really invested in Monzo, caring about it, spending the hottest Saturday of the year listening to me talk about why community matters. So to sum up the 4 reasons why I think community matters to business and why you should care about it is, 1, it helps us build a better product. I think any company can benefit from listening to its users more. As well as traditional user research, any company will have users that want to share how they use it and how they see it evolving. So I really would encourage any company to engage with its community and find out what they need and want. We've also seen how it helps with growth, how it can help with referrals. If you build a product that people want to share by listening to them, which is the first step, and supporting that with things like the golden tickets, things like that, building a community around just the sharing of the thing, that's really good for the business. We've seen how you can leverage the power of your community once it's up and running to do things that you want, so fixing your scores or things like that, crowdfunding, and getting people more invested, so directing people to things that you want them to do. So again, we saw that with enough engagement with the community, you can end up sort of caring so much that you're happy to go full Monzo. It's a no-brainer to go full Monzo. So for those 4 reasons, I think that's why community matters to us. That's why we care about it, and why any business can benefit from it. So I think there's a really clear case for why good community is good business. Thank you.